Good morning, guys. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on Mother Earth. My name is AJ, and today is Tuesday, March the 25th. So this is going to be my introductory video for my new channel, QuantumReality963. My other channel, 613 Solar, you can follow me and learn more about myself and my basically my experience with the law and the government and the law enforcement and so-called the fuckery all in all in the system. And it's nothing to do with the system itself being fault or not. But again, that's the channel. You can check that out. This channel is going to be primarily focused on sharing my knowledge and essentially engineering experience. I come from an aerospace electronics design system engineering background. I've worked in the industry from basically telecommunication or telecom so-called to semiconductors, automotive, wireless audio, hardware product developments, web development, you name it, the whole thing, right? The whole thing, IoT, drones, you name it, the whole thing. I have over 15 years of so-called cumulative experience across different market basically domains and verticals, so to speak, in market verticals and application domains. So I've been to China, I've been to Japan, I've been to USA. I've worked with the likes of Apple. I was a consultant, subject matter expert for the likes of Apple, Intel, Texas Instruments, and all these big names semiconductor companies that without their chip, so to speak, you could not have this technology and digital world that we have today. And this gadget I'm holding in my hand is nothing but basically the manifestation of so-called an idea, right? It's essentially you are carrying a device, a gadget that allows you to communicate with people, and there has to be basically some rules or laws, if you will, that the gadget has to be designed to conform to. So this is basically the introductory video for my channel. I'm gonna leave it here. So subscribe if you like what you hear. I'll be talking about primarily energy, right? I'll be talking about life, sharing my life perspective as an engineer, as someone who is indigenous to the Middle East, so to speak. I came here 25 years ago, and I lived the Canadian dream, so to speak. A lot of the people come to Canada because they want a better life. There are opportunities, yes, but you have to understand when you come to the land, you have to understand the rules and the laws that are applicable to the land. So you are a law-abiding citizen, so to speak, and also you can actually navigate this what seems to be like a very convoluted life, right? Energy, I'm going to be talking about energy, and this is why I call it. It's QuantumReality963. So essentially it is an open space, open channel. I will be also having a blog, which I do have, a Quantum Reality blog on Ko-fi. I'll be leaving the links below, as well as, a link to my other channel if you want to know more about what the hell happened to me and, why am I so outspoken in terms of basically, I'm not against a system, so to speak. I'm just outspoken against the fuckery, and that's essentially it. So you can check out my other channel. I'll leave the links below. I'm also actually in the process of, at the end of the day, we are here. Life is business. Life is buy and sell. And if there was nothing of value for me to offer you, there would be no reason for you to basically listen to what I have to say, or even follow me, or issue his own, right? So take it as, take it or leave it. I'm just sharing my perspective. Obviously I'm on the camera, so you're not in front of me. It would be more productive and more engaging if you are in person, and that is the natural way, because when it's just environment, you're sensing. You have 5 senses. That's what you're taught, right? You go to school, you have 5 senses, and then you also have your voice you can control, but you also have what we call a sixth sense that most people maybe in the scientific community they don't call it that, but you can feel things, right? You can feel things, and that's not just the feeling of temperature where your skin allows you to do that. That's basically your biological sensor. And the gist of it is when you look at the world right now, we're living in what, 2025, and again, depending on which calendar you are using, our cousins, the Jews, they use, a Hebrew calendar, and it's, I believe, 5,780 some odd years. If you're a Muslim brother, you have your Hijri calendar. But again, you live in a secular world, and everybody's using the Gregorian, Christian-based calendar. But it's not really Christian anymore, right? Which would be your common law, which this is why Canada right now is mostly secular. But that does not negate the fact that you still have common law, because at the end of the day, Canada could not exist without the establishment of the, or formation, so to speak, of the Dominion of Canada, right? With the first 4 provinces, you have Upper Canada, Lower Canada, Ontario, Quebec, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick, in 1867. So when you start looking at the world and the event, because, the oldest person right now, I mean, maybe there are people who are, 1 or 2% older, population which are, outside the spectrum, so to speak, or the bell curve. But most people, if you understand what bell curve is, it's a normal distribution curve, basically. It's unbiased and skewed. This is called normal. And most people, right now, if you look in the world, nobody is above the age of 100. Yes, like I said, there are maybe 1 or 2%, but over 100, we can safely say that most people are 100 years old or less. Which means what? Which means everything that you are raised and, when you're born in this world, the last 100 years basically have been, predetermined for you, right? You cannot change the history. You're born into, the land, the family, the belief system, the culture, whatever the case may be. I, in my case, was married earlier to, a Catholic Latina, beautiful soul. And that's what matters. 14 years. And at the end of the day, it is what it is, each to his own. So, and this is life, and you have to be able to, reason and explain life for your child. I have a child, and she's 10 years of age. Beautiful child, I miss her so much. But, you go to school for a reason again. Why do you send your kids to school? Because, again, you're born, and, your parents have sent you to school at the age of 5 or 6 or whatever the age that is maybe. And then you go to basically, a very regimented, one-size-fits-for-all solution way to basically educate and acquire knowledge. But that's not the only way you can acquire knowledge. You can acquire knowledge, right now YouTube is, a free university, so to speak. You just need the trade and, you need the tools of the trade, as we call it. So, for example, if you're a chip designer, you cannot design a chip, man, sitting down under a tree like this. You need a computer, you need like a very high, so to speak, power, processing power, because, those chips requires a lot of, Monte Carlo simulation, PVT analysis, you name it, right? I mean, you're gonna design this thing, right? It's gonna have to work, and they're gonna have to make, millions and billions of chips that are going to go into different gadgets of different applications. So, you must design to a spec. The spec is your data sheet, and the data sheet basically is the contract. That is the liability. When something goes wrong with that chip, that chip goes back to you, because initially it's the chip, people don't know what's wrong. A gadget stops working, then, that gadget goes back to the OEM, or the original equipment manufacturer, and then based on the warranty, and then, those people will basically issue an RMA, which stands for request for material authorization, where now, your gadget is somewhere else, at a facility being basically debugged. And sometimes, that company, because remember, they did not make the chip. They are only integrating the chip. But once they, determine the root cause of the problem, and that is something that we engineers, and myself in particular, have been very, accustomed to this customary, practice. As an engineer, you're a hardware engineer. You get a board, you have to, debug the board, right? And that's essentially it. And coffee, just to slow down, because maybe people are not following. So that's just basically it. You have to go about life. You be it a carpenter, you be it an engineer, you be it a doctor, you be it a nurse, you be it a lawyer, whatever the case may be. We live in a society, and we need to make that society operate, and we need all walks of life, to make a society. That's what make the fabric of a society. It's an individual person, right? You have one person first, then you got the woman, then you got the child. So that's basically your trio, right? That's your holy bond. That's you and your wife and your child basically will have. And from that, basically that's your clan, and then you have your tribe, like-minded people. They basically their group, and it has nothing to do with the belief, so to speak. You want to practice your prayers, you want to go to the church. It doesn't matter. Rid of the belief system for a minute. Rid of the bullshit for a minute. Just think of it. You only resonate with people that are like-minded people. So, you wouldn't talk to me just because of, my hairs to the side or some shit. No, it's because, I have something to offer. I'm sharing my perspective, and I cause no harm. I'm simply sharing my thoughts, my experience as an engineer, and my perspective on life. At the end of the day, life is an experience. You share stories to your kids, and if you cannot, If you cannot, explain the world and life and the universe to your 5-year-old child, you have failed as a father or as a mother to understand life yourself. And, likely you are going to basically jump on the hamster wheel every day, 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 8 to 4 if you work for the government or some other, odd hours. And that's the bulk of the, people. And then you have some other people who work overnight because maybe you're a construction worker, or maybe we need those people that are going to stock the shelves, right? Because, in the morning you want to go buy some food, and, the food has to be on the shelf. Somebody else has to basically be preparing all that, so when the morning rush comes, people have their food. And again, society operates. You need laws and orders for society to function. And for the longest part, people didn't have any government to come and tell them what to do. And that's basically where the secular world basically was established. Post World War One, we basically went from common law predominantly to essentially secular civil world, that now you are a law, as a civilian you gotta follow the book. Which book? Nobody knows which book. You're just going about life. I mean, you don't go and study the criminal code in university before you graduate and you start going about your life, right? You just simply go about your life, and when shit happens, then you realize, oh shit, there's a criminal code and there are offenses, and if you do, there are going to be consequences. And that's basically it. Once you understand what is it that your objective of life, and at the end of the day, the life or the objective of life is what? It's not to work and make money. You don't work to live, right? You don't live to work. You're not living just to go to work. You work and to live, part of basically going about life and getting things and establishing your yourself and your family, so to speak, and you have your kids, because it's a cycle. You're born day 0, and then you're gonna die day X, right? And in that process, you'd have hopefully you've had your good life. You had come across some beautiful soul woman that you married, and then you had children. Because if it wasn't for a man and a woman crossing, there's a reason why you cross a man and a woman. When you cross a man and a woman, you get a child, naturally, that is. But if you cross a man with a man, you don't get a child. And you cross a woman with a woman, you don't get a child. So we're going back to the natural. And the essence of life is, if you are here to continue life on earth, and not be extinct yourself or your family name to be extinct, because at the end of the day, you carry your family name. That's your lineage, right? DNA. That's your DNA, and you inherit. Just like you adopt and inherit the values and the belief system of the society or the the environment that you are born into, right? Then likewise, you have the same kind of thought process where you have to essentially just think for yourself. Right? Nobody's going to force you to, you're born this, you're born that. Doesn't matter. You just inherited those. But then you can think for yourself, right? I mean, you don't have to just follow someone just because. I mean, your father tells you things when you're a child, and then you listen to your father. And again, that is child law, right? Does not break parent law. So, children normally, they listen to their parents, and that there's a reason, because we are disciplining, we are guiding the children, right? Now, the civil world suddenly, they want to basically infringe and, just invade your own privacy and your own jurisdiction as a family, and that's where the problem starts happening, where people don't understand that they need to assert their rights, and as natural persons, as a person of authority, as the man of the house, you are the head of the house, so called, and that is universal. That is universal. The government knows that. That's why when the government needs to do something with your child, in relation to your child, be it, anything, right? They always seek the father's consent first before the mother. Why? Because the father has a seed. Without the father, you have no kids. And again, the mother is what provides that, basically the soil, Hello. The mother is what provide that kind of, it's like Mother Earth. Look, this is the ground here, Mother Earth. Without Mother Earth, we would not have no trees. We would have no life. So the seeds, like, the trees, they have natural process of basically pollination, and, the wind carries the seed, and you get the bird, the bees and everything, and you get life, right? And likewise, we're nothing but human being. We are not aliens. So you're a human being, you're gonna be natural, you're gonna go, you get married, you get kids, etc., etc. And, the distinction is this: you cannot impose your views. It doesn't matter, you're born this, you're born that. At a certain point, you're gonna leave that, your father's house. And once you leave your father or your parents' house, you're on your own. You're a man. Just like, you look at the pride, you look at the lions, right? I mean, lions normally, there's the Lion King, and there's, the pride. And then, the lion only has one lioness queen, right? King, queen. That's it. Go back to the nature. You don't see the lion going around, basically with different, mates. One mate, and that's natural. But again, if you have the money, if you have the power, and you have the means, so to speak, to support more than one mate, well, power to you, man. Go back to your belief system and whatever that you want, as long as you are just and you are fair with your treatment to the people, or specifically to the mates you are with, right? To the people or to the women you're mating with. So this is it, 15 minutes. I'm gonna wrap it up here. That's kind of basically where this channel takes me. Energy. Think of it, energy. There's a triangle, right? There's always, it's energy, because if you're not breathing, you're dead. So energy in the metaphysical world is going to be your energy, right? Your soul, your spirit. It allows you to go and get up out of bed, and you're going about your life. And that is essentially what you need to always remember. I keep talking about that in the other channel, the trust law and whatnot. But again, think of it this way, energy, right? So energy in the metaphysical world is what we call essentially, your life, your soul, because otherwise you're dead, either alive or you're dead. Now, the other thing is, it's, frequency, right? And vibration. And it's not me who's saying this. I'm just someone who basically, went to school, went to university, I worked in the industry, I have a lot of, basically research done throughout my life. I came across many people like, Nikola Tesla and everybody else, and the stooges like Elon Musk. So, there are pioneers and there are stooges. So, there's... At one point, no other than Nikola Tesla, who said, if you want to understand the secret of this universe, or if you want to discover or know the secret of the universe, think of terms: energy, frequency, and vibration. And I'll leave that for video number 2. So this is the introductory video. This is kind of, I know it's more than enough to introduce, but this is where I am, essentially. And welcome abroad. If you like what you hear, write me a comment, email me, aj@solarwatts.io. So again, my website will be listed below, and I will be in my next video sharing my basically business idea, my startup. So as I said, I'm an engineer. I've worked for the industry startup world for the last decade or so. I have more than enough experience, skill set to basically deliver on my promise. And I'll speak more about that in my next video, because now it's getting late. So anyways, subscribe if you like. Shoot me a message, write me an email, WhatsApp me. I'll leave my WhatsApp. No, actually, I'll say it right now. It's 408, I believe, 627-7785. That's right. So it's 408 is a California number. I had got that number way back when I had my company, Smart MVM Analytics. So what's Smart MVM? We'll talk about that next time. Shit. Oh, man. All right. Enjoy. Have a good one.